Hello, my name is Cristel Petit and I'm going to present the brainstorming diagram about adverbs. The spelling rules vary depending on the ending of the verb. For example, if the verb ends in E, just add D. For example, love, loved. If the verb ends in a consonant plus Y, change the Y to I and add et. For example, study, studied. If it ends in a vowel plus Y, simply add et. For example, play, played. Some verbs with a short vowel and consonant require doubling the final consonant before adding et. For example, stop, stopped. And we use adverbs in different situations to talk about the past, simple past, to form perfect tenses with have, has, had, past participle, in passive voice, and also as adjective. Example, I was bored. Common mistakes include using "et" with irregular verb, like got instead of went, and pronouncing all "et" ending the same. Practice, games, and listening activities can help learners master both the spelling and pronunciation of regular adverbs. Thank you.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about ed verbs in English, which are regular verbs in the past tense and past participle form. Let's start with what they are. Regular verb form their past tense by simple adding ed at the end. For example, wanted, watched, played. These are called regular past tense verbs. And now let's look at the spelling rules. Most verbs just get ed, like for example, like. But when a verb ends in y, like cry, we change the y to I and it's become cried. If a verb ends in the short vowel and a consonant like stop, we double the consonant. For example, stop, stop it. Next is pronunciation, which can be a bit tricky. There are three sounds for ed endings. For example, for the letter T as talk, D as cleaned, and ID as needed. It's depending on the lesson of the verb, not the spelling. And now let's talk about the uses of ed verbs. We use them in the simple past. She cooked dinner, for example. We also use them as a past participle, like in the they visit Puerto Rico. And finally, we use them in passive voice. The car was repaired. So remember, ed are simple, but their spelling, pronunciation, and use are very important when we speak English and writing. Thank you for listening.
So, what I have learned about the pronunciation when it comes to the regular past tense, including the ed, has taught me and make me understand the complexity that learners have to face when trying to learn a second language. For example, speaking in English correctly is not easy when you want to use the word walk or talk and many others examples. So at first it might appear simple because it just sounds like adding ed, but the spelling never sounds the same and it changes. So the way that you pronounce ed depends on the final sound. For example, um with the board that we made, you can see that walk or played, wanted, these words you need to add ed at the end. But the sounds are different in each word, so it shows you how is it that you need to make a pronunciation or make it harder for the student or the person to understand what really is that you want to say. So the ability to pronounce these words correctly needs to be incorporated with a visual, with and auditory, and for example, let's make voice sounds so your student or the person can understand what's really that you want to say. Which are the strategies that we can tell are important? In this case, I can at least tell you five of them. For example, using visual aids and charts, minimal pairs so students can practice and they can listen to one another and learn what is it that they're saying wrong or correctly and make it better. Repetition is very important, and I can tell you that it made me build a muscle memory, so it's very useful for every student. Also, interactive activities, but weekly, help them like to introduce themselves and to be able to differentiate what's the word that really needs to make a sound at the end of it. And most of all, listening a native speaker. How is it that you can do that? Well, you need to be practicing with someone that can actually help you understand, can help you correct a word that you're not saying properly. So, um, you can think that focusing on the accuracy of it it's not important, but it is. So even if something sounds like very small at the end, it's important and it deserves to have the right attention. And as students are learning, the tools that they will have are essential for them to practice, to be better at it, to be prepared, and most of all, to communicate with a fluency that shows everyone that they are almost native speakers. Thank you.